How is everyone this morning? I apologize, I was a little late, but just trust that unless it is an emergency that I can't control, if I'm not going to be here, you guys can look on my account and it will either say, if I'm not going to be here, it will say that there's no live for today. So don't worry. As long as it doesn't say that, I'll be here. Unless there's, like I said, some extreme emergency that I'm not able to do it. So I apologize for being a little late. I was literally on the phone at 4:00 in the morning. It was crazy. So I hope everybody has had a decent week. But at the end of the day, we have gotten here to Friday morning. You know what I always say. If you're a member of the team, hit the daily heart me. And I thank everybody who has already done that. If you're not a member of the team, if you're new, if you're not sure, stick around. And if you like what you hear, join the team with the daily heart me. But what I truly ask is that everybody like the live until they feel the heart's tale. Every time I change a photo, that allows us to maintain the live so we don't get taken down, which we never have, by the way, and I have some pride in that. Not to say that it can't happen, but it hasn't yet. And we are circling a year's anniversary. Oh, thank you, Linda. So gifts are appreciated, but not mandatory. Not here. I know, right? Don't jinx it. So let's show, thank you a little bit. Let's show who we're going to discuss today. So today we're going to discuss Carla because I'm going to use this later, but somebody said that it's emotional gaslighting wrapped in religion. And that literally is her to a T. But that comes from somebody else. But when I wrote that down, I was like, that is Carla. Emotional gaslighting wrapped in religion. Then we're going to do a little bit of a scammer deep dive. And I phrased it that way because I think that for a lot of us, we're going to have to do a further deep dive. I did as much as I could, considering that I learned about it with not many hours to go before I had to create this and make sure I had everything wrapped up. So everything I'm going to say is alleged based on everything that I was able to research and read. But this is scamming on another level using social media. Then, of course, we have Medina, Asia, and her need to still get online every day and beg for money. Faith for security. I just have things to say. Jalen and the game I think she was playing yesterday. And then we got to revisit Jessica because she tried to be slick. And since you want my attention, I'm going to give it to you. Obviously, we have time. We will do some open mic. And then we have taken the bolo off of Bella James because you're no longer a bolo. Let's put it that way. So, I'm going to start with Asia. And if we have time, I may add a few more things, but I don't know. So, let me find the note first before I get started, because she was already on this morning. So, Asia has gotten a job. And for that, we are happy, right? She seems to be doing well. As far as we can tell, Asia's pic looking like me stressing this morning. Listen, she has no children. Kira, I'm going to need you to find somewhere to go. I am of the opinion that when you are young and able bodied, you don't have children, you don't have any responsibilities but yourself. That is the perfect opportunity to pick yourself up. You can work full time, go to school, get a degree, go to a trade school, get a skill so that you can rise up as time goes on. Because once you start adding on additional responsibilities, you are much more locked in. Asia went months with having people pay for her hotel room, food, travel, you name it. But it very quickly turns into expectation. And then it got rude. Like, if you're not here to give me money, why are you here? Well, it's a public platform. If you only want people who follow you, who give you money, go private with those people. But of course, she couldn't, because not enough of the people who follow her actually donate. Or if they have donated, why should they continue to donate over and over and over again? And for months, there was no change, there was nothing different. When the money slowed down, she went and got a job, which I wish the enablers would understand that the more you give, the less likely it is that they're going to take care of themselves, because they start feeling like, I'm going to continue to be taken care of. When the money slows down, they figure it out. Right, little bit. As long as they keep getting money, why would they do anything differently? They legitimately start to feel like coming online and showing their face literally is their job. And you know it's sad when the content is, I need to wash my hands, I need to buy new eggs. Oh, let me not let this burn. This was her this morning. Oh, I have to get another refrigerator in here because my meat spoiled and I thought I was tripping. Like, you don't even have anything of quality to say. So you literally just start saying anything that comes to your head. Grand Rising. I did not, but I heard about it. I should say I heard him talk about it. So, yesterday at a little after 4, she was live and she went from 7 people to 2 people. Why? Because for one, all she posted, like, she wasn't even saying anything for a while. She had the TV in the background, loud as all get out. She was stuck in her phone, and every once in a while she would look up, and if she thought there was somebody new, she would post her payment app and go back. Have we even gotten lazy about requesting? Right. It's speak or get blocked. Then it's, if you've been here for a while and you haven't sent anything, get blocked. Then it's tap the screen or get blocked. You literally, and then after she does all of that, she also tries to trick the algorithm by dropping and coming right back. Now she's complaining that she thinks she's shadow banned. Right, Lazy Days. You are concerned that you're shadow banned? Girl, you created your own decline. Because who wants to go in there? Especially when we can just watch from the outside. They don't got to worry about getting blocked. You have made it so that people don't want to watch you. Because if they're not giving, tapping, whatever, you don't want it. They're trying to trick the algorithm and hope that they get put on another path, because the goal is to come across new people. Really? She spent $70 of their food stamps? Alley Cat, you want to know why it's not a lot? Think about this. If I had to end and come back 5 times and I got $100, is that really a lot of effort? It takes less effort to get $100 off of TikTok than to go to work for 3, 4, 5 hours and get $100, and then have to use some of that to pay taxes or insurance or whatever. It's actually not a lot of effort when you think about the amounts of money they get. You work, have the ability to do overtime, to have a second job, and you spent somebody else's food stamps? Come on, man. And has no qualms about it. And then will say, well, you gave it to me. You didn't have to. So you gave it to me. I was going to buy what I needed. And is already now complaining that she needs new meat. Because the refrigerator, or I should say the freezer part of the refrigerator, I guess wasn't working. And they act like showing their face is worth it. Like, face card doesn't decline. You don't even pay attention to the chat anymore. It's more like somebody will see me and they'll give. I don't even have to put any effort. I just have to turn my account on. And the little blurb that says I need money because I'm homeless is enough. What's funny though, and they're not on the list, but with Tim and Angela, when he doesn't need money, he doesn't even know what to talk about. Wait a minute. She's not at Walmart anymore? She said that was just a project. She has the whole day to find a job. Be for real. I don't even know what to say. Oh, good morning, Granny Annie. Thank you so much. I don't even know what to say. Here I am praising you for getting a job. And now it was just a project. Was it a project to see if you would still get money? Like, I can't. We are just getting to Christmas. They're upping their hiring right now. Probably for being late, leaving early, could have cursed a customer or fellow employee out, because we know she has a temper. My question is this: how do you anticipate getting out of homelessness if you can't keep a job? What, does she think she's going to meet a man and suddenly he's going to pay all of her bills? Thank you, Yvonne. Like, I don't get it. I, that is so disappointing. That is so disappointing. And heaven forbid she turns into a faith for security, where when she was young enough and didn't have the responsibilities, she could have busted her ass and made things happen for herself. And then now she has kids, and now it's I can't do this, I can't do that because I have kids. Right, Diamond? They're like, are you mad because you're not getting money? If I wanted to be you, I could. You act like what you do is hard. You just get on here and beg for money. I showed y'all the picture of my granddaughter the other day. And how easy it is to manipulate people. I could come on here and start selling products. I could do any number of things. What is it, Kimberly or Kim Berry Dawn? I forgive me if I've said that wrong. Who isn't? We all had that fairy tale. Good morning. Thank you, Diamond and Georgie. I appreciate it. Okay, Kimberly Dawn. Okay, thank you. Um, we all had the fairy tale of being, we were in a castle in our parents' house because we had to, you know, get past them. But we all were waiting for our Prince Charming to come through and pick us up. And so we could live happily after ever. Let me just tell you something. All of Disney is a scam. Stop it. Because the idea that once you get to it, like, okay, you have hardship, or what was it? Was it Cinderella? I can't even remember. I haven't been a part of that world in so long. But the one with the shoe, and she was treated badly by her stepmother and stepsisters, and then she had mice make her beautiful dress and shoes, and then when the clock struck midnight, the glass slipper, who wasn't waiting for that? And then as you age, you realize, um, yeah, that might not happen. Or the first man that comes along and shows us all of the great things. Now we think he's our Prince Charming, and he was trash. Our first Prince Charming turned out to be trash. But because we have that thought process in our head, the first dude that comes along is, and at least in my case, I didn't really start dating until I left high school. So I'm like, I'm 18, I'm mature, I can make these decisions. So, but in this day and age, you should know better. So, if you're shadow banned, it is often because of what you do. It's very rarely that TikTok picks up on somebody and it's just like, we're randomly going to shadow ban you. Luna, why couldn't I meet the man that I'm with now back then? Why? But like I tell my niece all the time, you got to kiss a lot of frogs to find the prince sometimes. Not everybody. Some people are able to find them the first time and that's it. But for some of us, it's a lot of frogs. I'm so disappointed. I've been giving her a pass because I'm thinking she's getting up and going to work every day. That's disappointing. Now, when she came on yesterday, she seemed happy, upbeat, and I was like, okay, regular live. That's what I'm expecting. Because, when I go to her lives and I see her sad and depressed and upset, I'm like, here we go. But I didn't get that feeling yesterday. She was just talking and everything was like, seemed great with the world. And then she's like, oh no. Yes, please tap, tap, tap since I've changed the photo. She's like, oh no. And I'm like, what? You know how, like, when you know somebody is coming at you with a bunch of BS and they're like, can I? And you're like, what? That was my attitude. What now? And she's like, it's something important. Now, wait a minute. We got to go back a second. I forgot this. She's purchased a new iPhone, the 16E, that she has to make payments on. And I'm like, the other day with 3 checks, you didn't have money to feed you and the girls. Like a month ago. And now you done bought a new phone through Boost Mobile that you got to make payments on. And then she's like, and in a couple of months, I want to upgrade to a regular sized iPhone 16. Now, if I'm lagging, tap, tap, tap the screen or go out and come back. Because I'm either being reported, which is highly likely, or it's just TikTok. Right, speaking of iPhones. Okay. So I was like, I'm just going to take note of that. I'm just going to take note of it. Because usually, if you upgrade before you finish paying the bill, especially for like a Boost Mobile or something like that, you got to pay for the old phone first. Thank you, Erica. You got to pay for the phone first. But I was like, a month ago, you couldn't feed your family. You were stressed out in the bed, couldn't get out. And now we're buying a new iPhone. Well, okay, maybe the payments are low. But then she's like, oh no, and she's in her phone, in her phone, in her phone. And she's like, it's something really important. And she's like, I'm in my email. I just saw it. Jalen Mollet, thank you very much for that. Perfect. Thank you very much. She's like, oh, and she's not paying attention to the chat anymore. She's in this phone, And she's like, I had it there. She's not saying what it is, but she is increasingly getting more desperate looking and sounding. And I'm like, what is this? Because if I have a very important email, I will either download it somehow, take a screenshot, add it to a file, make it an important photo, because anything could happen with email. While very I have never seen where an email went into the trash that I didn't put in, but you guys realize that once it's in trash, you can still see it. And even if you empty the trash, you have about 30 days to find it. So, why are you acting like if you just saw it, where is it? So then she went back to, I'm going to look in the trash, and people are trying to make recommendations. She still hasn't said what it is. And I'm like, is she doing all of this so that people ask her, what is it? Well, it turned out to be her storage bill. User, I'm not even gonna bother. If you don't like what I'm doing, scroll on or sit there and be quiet and pay attention. But because I live in America and I have a mouse, I'm allowed to have my opinion. Not even gonna bother going back and forth with you. And if I didn't have a life, why would that matter to you? Anyway, why did we need all of that for you to say you're looking for your storage bill? If they are if you are that desperate, why do that live? Well, don't even bother going back and forth. Don't even bother. Right, exactly. Like, why bother? Right. It's meant to distract. Correct, Cindy Lou. Good morning. Good morning. Of course, it's dry begging. But this is right after you told everybody you bought a phone and you're making payments. So suddenly you most of us, she's been in this place long enough that she knows where her storage is and how much it is every month. So why are you pretending like you don't know where your stuff is? Because even if she missed the email, you don't have their telephone number? Because she even alluded to the fact like she needed it to know where they were. She is absolutely still at it. And I'm tired of the game. Thank you, Granny Annie. I'm tired of the game. I'm tired of this pretend to act like everything is good just so that you could turn around and act like there's this sudden um panic or I mean, let's go back to she let the boyfriend get money and he didn't pay her back and he stole her pew pew so she couldn't pay her rent. And then after they gave her the money, she continued to date him. Did he pay you back or did you say, well, they gave me the money so we can let it go? Right, Kimberly. They still together. Now, you can do what you want with your life, but if you know you're already living on a razor's edge, why would you give a man money you couldn't afford to lose and then make it your supporter's responsibility to cover your rent? You don't let anybody borrow money that you can't afford to lose. Because anything could happen to the person that promised to pay you back. But Denise, he's not even in the house. In fact, she has to sneak him in and out. And then complained about that. No, yes, that's exactly what I said, Auntie. This was the story she gave her people. How could she report it if they still laying up together? So when I see her come on and then act like in the middle of her live that she's panicked and it turns out to be about her storage bill, I am side eyeing you for sure. Well, Cindy Lou, I can't understand it any other way. They are. I don't even know if it's dense or if it's willful ignorance. Like, I'm going to pretend that I haven't watched her do this over and over and over again. It's always something. And let's be clear, she gets 3 Social Security checks. Now, is Social Security check going to mean that you're balling? No. But you have Social Security, but you don't know nothing about food stamps? Huh? I don't know. She tried to say she didn't know how to get food stamps, if she qualified for food stamps, all of it. If you don't like what I do, why be here? Go find somebody else. I find it interesting that I'm the only creator getting called out. Right. But the time I heard her kids talking, they didn't sound at all slow. You gotta wonder why it's just me. That's what I wonder. Why is it just me? When other people can make thousands and there's silence. Probably their whole life. Let's see. Who do we want to do next? Let's get Jessica out the way. So let me find it. The other day I showed you, wait, what? I don't know. You called me out months ago. Nothing has changed. Saying something in my chat today is supposed to make something change, especially when other people are doing it to the nth degree. And when someone called them out, was basically like, I don't give a fuck. I'm not changing. So I should like be for real. Anyway, I don't even care. Like, thanks for adding to the chat. I appreciate you being here. Anyway, as you could see, when I showed you this yesterday or Wednesday, the last thing that I had was my message, which was, if you have a problem with me, you are welcome to a box. I go live 6:30 a.m. Thank you, Jody. I'm not worried about it. I've been here before. Try something new. And I sent that at 8:43. And as you can see at the top, the screenshot I took was at 8:44. So this is what she tried to put up, where she said, you're bothering me at this point, leave me alone. All I said was, if you have a problem with me, you are welcome to a box. I haven't spoken to her since September. So now I'm bothering you. You chose to take a recording of my live and post it on your page. But I'm bothering you at this point. So then apparently she sent me a message that said, girl, ain't nobody worried about you. Try again. Have the day you deserve. Bully. I had a great day, by the way. And I actually have a job to be at, so I'm not worried about joining your dumb box. You took a screenshot of that and of the fact that you blocked this account. Tell me you want my attention, Jessica, without telling me. But you blocked me before I could even see that message. Because I went back to see if I had a response and I was already blocked. I showed y'all that. Right, berries. And not only is she doing Lisa, she's doing others. Guys, I have something. I was going to talk about it today, but I'm going to save it. I have something, I'm always doing something behind the scenes. Always. I got a good one for y'all coming up. And she fits the bill. Man, if you want to be left alone, leave me alone. But if you come for me, then clearly you want my attention. Now, I can walk away and never speak of you again. Or we could keep going. And at the bottom it says, leave me alone. You started this. Exactly, Mr. Skinner. Don't start nothing, won't be nothing. But boo-boo, Miss Hot Mess, what you gonna do about it? It's funny how you don't have time to be in my box, but you have time to be in scammers' lives, supporting them, thinking you're making somebody angry when you're not. Nobody cares. She's had multiple names. She's been around since Kim Peters, Lisa's Height. She's now around Tim Nash, but she changes her name thinking that she's brand new. You're not. People know exactly who you are. And what's funny is she reached out to me first to tell me that Fallon was a liar. She reached out to me first. Of course, they don't know her by name. All they know is she gave them money as a way to make the haters mad. Like, girl, thank you. They were able to get off live even faster. By the way, it came across my feed right before I went live that Amanda and Frank were found in another city in Kentucky in a completely different county at a VFW at what looked like slot machines. It was a VFW, it wasn't even a casino. Girl, we keeping track of you. Don't worry. And if it's not us, it's somebody. Okay, she is out the way. Let me make sure. Oh, wait. Yeah, I don't have nothing more to say about her. Your buddy is here. Yep, Elmira, Kentucky, which is a completely different county than where she was arrested, and a completely different county from the person who bailed her out. Yep. So, yesterday, Bella James Cunningham came on. He was a bolo on Wednesday. Yes, please tap, tap, tap. And he needed $46 for his meds. He said that it was at the pharmacy. He does have insurance, but even with his insurance and GoodRx, it was still $46. This is what I don't understand. I have never, and this is Tim Nash as well. I have never met someone who had insurance that goes to the ER for care. You know why? Because unless it's straight Medicaid and you have no copay, you better go to a PCP or like those quick clinics that you can go into, because usually an ER visit is expensive. Urgent care, exactly. So I don't understand how people who need so much money to pay for their medication can just go to the ER at will. Dang, Heather Joanne. I thought mine was bad at $175. I have never, it's a lot to know. I have never gone to an urgent care and they send me to the ED. Never, not once. Now, in Connecticut, the hospital actually had an urgent care, and because they were smart, they had a lab there, an x-ray there, and like some other things, so that they could within that setting take care of most things. I realized that not all urgent cares have that, but that was the urgent care that I would go to. But she complains that I guess an ex punched her in the face and messed up a front tooth. So she has the tooth pain, the face pain, and then what she was she thought she had COVID. Because, by the way, there's a new strain of COVID out. Just like always, it's a little worse than the COVID. Yeah, than the COVID before. So she thought she might have COVID, so she went to the ER. It wasn't COVID. Apparently there's an infection in her sinuses, and there's a bubble in her sinuses. So she needs $46 for the meds. And oh, also $10 to get back and forth to the pharmacy. How come, and this is again in Tim Nash's case, where's the bill? Yes, an ER has to treat you. That doesn't mean that a bill doesn't follow. I've never understood how, and again, if people are familiar with insurance and healthcare, it might sound logical. It doesn't to me. But while he was on the live, he was opening the mail. And guess what he opened? He opened a package full of meds that were delivered. Now, usually if you go to a mail order pharmacy, you can get a larger prescription, like instead of a 30-day, a 90-day, and it's cheaper. But for more immediate meds, you go to the local pharmacy. So not only did you want the meds paid for, you wanted the gas to get there and back paid for. But your boyfriend Brandon works full time. And she doesn't feel like working. So y'all gotta pay. Correct, Cindy Lou. My question is this, though. For all of them, you have a reason why you can't work. Whatever it is, whatever excuse you give. And you're looking for donations. But none of the people giving you money is independently wealthy. They had to get up when they didn't want to, go to work in a place they might not have wanted to go to, get a paycheck that is cut in half damn near between 401ks, taxes, insurance coverage, etc. And you want to take their half a check and send a portion to you so that you don't have to take responsibility for your own life. And let's not forget, when I talked about Bella James for the first time, I talked about the fact that they wanted to do the fireworks stand. And by the time he read off all the things that were necessary, who's paying for that? Okay, Fiona. See, this is the thing. If someone got caught in a situation and needed help on that day, like I need meds and I don't get paid until Friday, that's one thing. But this is people who have been doing it over and over and over again, expecting other people to take a portion of their income to give it to you. And it's always people who either have a faith that says to them to give to the lowly, give to the poor, and you'll be blessed by God. It's someone who has been in that situation before and they want to give somebody a handout. Or it's someone who just really likes you and it's easy to take advantage of people who really like you. I know that's right, Mr. Skinner. It's the over and over for me. It's the for everything. We need food. He didn't do laundry because he didn't realize that there was still money on the laundry card. But this is the reality. If there wasn't money on the laundry card, he'd just come to TikTok and say, I need to do laundry. Can anybody give me $20? Now, for any one person on any day, $20 isn't a lot. You can blow $20 going to a fast food restaurant. You could blow $20 going to see a movie for two people, and that's just the ticket, if it's not more. Correct, Aaron. It is taking advantage of people's kindness to do it whenever you feel like it, for any expense. Think about the millions of people who don't have insurance. Imagine if everybody who didn't have insurance came to TikTok and said, we need you to pay for our meds. Imagine every person facing a crisis of food came to TikTok. If every person whose rent was late came to TikTok. TikTok was shut down because nobody would turn it on. Who wants, and bad enough, my algorithm introduces me to a new one all the time, although this one came from a Discord. There is American Girl because they see people making it. Right, Mr. Skinner? There's no room for people who was in Texas in that flood. The people of Jamaica who are literally living like they are in a fourth world country right now. And people will have the nerve to look at them and be like, well, tell your country to help you. But no, we have an able bodied individual who doesn't feel good. You know how many days I went to work not feeling good? Because I had a child to take care of. And guess what? Of course they have a dog. Of course they have a dog. Thank you, Connie. Of course they have a dog. Let me tell you something, Fly High. The high isn't getting the money. It's not exhausting at all. You know when it becomes exhausting? When the money starts to slow down. Then it's exhausting because then you could spend, he got it in maybe 20 minutes. He got it in like 20 minutes. He wasn't even really paying attention. He was opening the mail, yelling at the dog. And I was like, really, a dog too? A dog too. Okay. Well, why don't you tell Brandon to work some extra hours so you can get your medication? It is nobody on TikTok's responsibility. And of course, they're going to be like, we just asked him. Guess what? Would you get money without asking? If the answer to that is yes, then cool. But I don't think he can, Aaron. But to ask people to give you money so that you can have the basics in life. Yeah, they can give it if they don't have to give it if they don't want to. But you give them the sob story. And I'm telling you, he is setting up for that fireworks stand. All of the things he has to have insurance and a bonding and a fire extinguisher and a calculator and pens and pencils. He has to provide his own porta potty. Like, you can't get $46 in medication, and I'm supposed to believe you're going to be ready for the last week of December for fireworks? Correct, Anna. And a long time ago, I did a Raising the Consciousness about what's wrong with enabling. And what's wrong with enabling is that it creates in the person the lack of desire to do anything more for themselves. Okay, Pisces Gypsy, I'm going to write your name down so that I can look for it specifically. Right, Brandon? Listen, a lot of you may not know, but I know a lot of you do know. My first scammer was Lisa. And it was the time when she wanted her son to go to camp. And I felt so like he's not going to be able to go to camp because he doesn't have a couple of things. And then I saw her sister, who had literally purchased everything on the list. And I was like, oh, great. And then as soon as Lisa got him back, she was like, my son isn't going to be able to go to the camp. And I was like, you have to be kidding me. Oh, J. Paul blocked very quickly. Very quickly. And she swears everybody is being sent by her new stalker. That's when you discovered her. And then I was noticing the accounts that were saying stuff like, she's lying, her sister already brought it. And I started going to those accounts to find out, like, what is really going on. And it wasn't that I felt bad for her, I felt bad for her son. And that sent me down the rabbit hole. And here we are. And to think that she's back at it is crazy. Oh, and I'm sorry, I forgot one more thing. They have a dog. He not only needed gas for the car, but because it's overheating, he needs coolant. He actually had a nerve to say that he knows everyone is hurting, but he isn't feeling it. What? Right, the Diddy was born. For fact. Do you need somebody to wash your back, blow your nose, comb your hair? Like, what is left for you to do? Mr. Skinner, people said that he was like, not in my car. Not in my car. Okay. No problem. Let's go over the face because I just need to get this off my chest. So I caught her the other day crying and upset because there was a live held about her and her shenanigans. And correct, Rose. And apparently somebody who she thought she could trust was over there. And when they were over there and they were getting a different side of the coin, they were a little surprised and shocked. But she said she was crying because they talked about her son, which I wasn't there. I don't know if that's true or not. But let's assume that it's true. I have so much to say. First of all, you're a child to me. You may be an adult in the eyes of the United States government, but you're a child to me. What do I look like allowing you to tell me what the world is? You haven't lived long enough, my dear. You may have had a lot of experiences in life, but it doesn't compare to 50 years on the earth to your 20-something years. Sorry, it doesn't. What you are going through is not unique. It's all been done before. All of it. Of course, Nikki, it's always okay when they say whatever, but you say anything remotely like it and the world comes to an end. But what disgusts me more is that there are a bunch of grown grandmothers, older mothers in there telling her that what she's doing isn't wrong. Let me explain something. You want to talk about how it's not easy for her to get a job because she has a son. How do everybody else do it? How does everybody else do it if it's hard? Now, don't forget that I'm not saying that it's the easiest thing in the world. But how did everybody else do it? You act like she's the very first single mother on the planet. And then you want to act like it's hard for her. If she knew it was hard, why is she pregnant again? By a completely different individual. When you had one child, that wasn't hard enough, and now you are having a second one? But you women who know better are in there making her feel like this is normal. What she's going through is normal and nobody should have a negative opinion about it. You're correct. This is actually her third. You are absolutely right. Because she claims she was scammed out of her daughter, her second child, that the people she was living with wanted to adopt her, the baby, but they were taking care of all three of them. And then she claims when they got the baby, they basically put her and her son out and kept the daughter. Right, a closed adoption. I know Kiki is pregnant again. You know what Faith said last night? Well, I'm going to have a registry at Walmart, Target, and Amazon, but you're going to have to DM me to get it. And I want to make sure I have all three ready so that when you DM me, I can just send you all three and you could choose where you want to get something from. 3 registries for one baby? Again, you laid down, you got pregnant, and I guarantee you it will be everything. Yes, Cece is pregnant with twins, but she claimed to be alone and single in that house. And when people heard her little boy say daddy, that didn't happen, right? But now we're pregnant with twins. Still no job, no education, nothing. Well, there had to be a man there for her to get pregnant. How do you sit there? I'm not saying you have to be mean to her. I'm not suggesting that at all. But you are condemning a group of black women who have an opinion not only about her decisions but her behavior. And you're mad at them, but you won't say to Faith, well, Faith, you're here now, but you've made some decisions to make your situation worse. And to then expect other people who get up every day and go to work to take care of the decisions you made is too much. You want to add God to the mix and talk about how if we were godly people, we would do this and we would do that. And that her name was given to her on purpose, that she has to have faith. Well, if you're going to apply that to us, apply that to her. I wasn't there, so I couldn't box up. You want to excuse all of her bad decisions that have gotten her here, but go off on people who find her bad behavior bad. And you want to know what's funny? I guarantee you there are girls in their family who got shunned, who got frowned upon, who were told that they made a stupid decision, they should have go to school. And yet you're on a social media platform building somebody up who keeps making bad decisions. You had one little boy, the baby daddy didn't do much. You then had a little girl that you gave up for adoption so you and your son would be taken care of. And then living in hotels that other people had to pay for. You get pregnant again, and let's not forget that she would beg for money and then go out to dinner with her man and say stuff like, yeah, I asked y'all for money for the hotel. It's not his responsibility to pay my bills. It's not ours either. It is not our responsibility either. And yet somehow you continue to make it our responsibility. You sitting there with Coach bags on, hair done, doing the absolute most with other people's money. But we're not supposed to have an opinion. We're wrong for saying what we think. The other thing was yesterday she did a live and she was like, TikTok should set up lives with games. They already have. Like, where have you been? But she decided to do like a question to the audience and then she would answer and stuff like that. Let me tell you something. I realize that for some people this may be a verbal tick. But when you have to say, I'm going to be honest before you say everything, well, when you don't say it, are you being honest? Exactly, Nikki. She could have an apartment by now if she did what she had to do. But why? And let's not forget that not only does she live in hotels, but she eats out every day. How many times do you have to say, I'm going to be honest? I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be honest. She even said, I'm going to be honest. I don't want to answer that question. Why? But she doesn't. She only says that sometimes. I'm going to be honest. Who needs to say that every single time they're getting ready to make a sentence? I mean, my pet rock has kidney stuff. Yeah, at the end of the day, that is also her favorite. But I'm gonna be honest. And y'all literally let her sit up there and act like she's Einstein. Girl, close your mouth and how about listen? And I really wish someone of maturity could get in there and say, okay, we are here now. How are we going to make this different? Instead of coddling her in her bad decisions. But no, she just got a bunch of women in there telling her, you're not doing anything wrong. It's everybody else. And right, she doesn't listen to anybody. And what's so crazy is that you're mad that somebody who has supported her financially for months gets tired and doesn't want to do it anymore? Where is her thankfulness for all of it? It goes out the door the moment you don't have money to give her. What would be the point to me getting in her box? She doesn't want to hear it. The only thing she wants to hear is you're great and I'm going to keep supporting you. No, Cindy Lou, she doesn't want resources because she knows what the resources are. Who wants to live in a shelter when I can get grown women and men to keep me in a hotel? Well, they can have her, Miss Coffee. I'm good. Because she literally thinks she's the smartest person in the room. And the only women she'll listen to are women who tell her that she's good, that nothing needs to change. I do know about Jeff Gainey, can't watch him. Yeah, Miss Coffee. Why would you stop if that's the amount? Think about it. She's not staying in motels. Not at all. And you should see her attitude when she has to pack up and sit in the waiting room. I mean, in the lobby. The attitude is terrible. Thank you, little bit. And my question is this. You have to have the baby. Who's keeping your son while you're in the hospital? So since you've moved to another state with no support, who's keeping your son? Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Connie. Who's keeping the son? Oh, she already is big pregnant. Harley Ryder girl, I don't know. At one point she was staying in a hotel, and I believe he was also staying in the hotel. But his was being paid for by the state. So that he worked, and whatever money he had, he was spending it on her, if you let her tell it. But she didn't want him to be responsible for taking care of her and her son. TikTok can do that. You know why? Because in TikTok, everybody is an inanimate object. You're just a name to her. It's easy to ask people you don't have to see face to face. She doesn't want to work. But she has time to make sure that 3 baby registries are done. 3. What's his name? That's hey, all for one. Thank you. And this is another thing. So you're going to get all of that stuff. And now you're going to have to move it place to place. And that'll be the new excuse. I have a new baby and I have all this stuff. How am I going to get it from one place to the next? I really need to stay here. Why don't y'all just pay for her whole... This is the other thing. Why don't y'all just pay for the hotel every day so we don't have to hear about it? You know she's going to ask for it. Just pay for it. But I'm tired of pretending like what she's doing and how she's acting is not only acceptable, but should be praised and lauded. I'm tired. Who's next? Wait. Okay. Okay. I am so confused by people who can watch. Everybody tap, tap, tap since we've changed the photo. I don't understand how people can hear the same thing I hear and still give money. I don't understand. So these are the things that I know. They were in Houston. They went and stayed with family and then showed up in Corpus, where they promised everyone they wouldn't have to keep them in hotels because they had like a studio apartment that they could live in until they got on their feet. Within 48 hours, they were back to asking for hotel money, food money, you name it. Money for jobs that didn't exist, money for interviews that didn't exist, all of it. And when that money started to dry up a little bit, when they started to have a little bit of a hard time because she lied over and over and over again about having a job and just needing to get to a certain place, they went back to Houston so that Claudia could go back to her mom, supposedly. And she didn't want to be far from Claudia, so she got money multiple times for the same bus ticket. They expect us to understand why they got to spend $30 and $40 for DoorDash. Well, the hotel was $70 and the DoorDash is $40. Well, the hotel was already paid for. She told us that. She told us that when the neighbor gave her $100, the bus fare was covered. And then she comes on later on in the evening with you, and suddenly she needs the bus fare money. And by the time she needed it, it had doubled. It was $48 Sunday morning, and by Sunday night it was like 80 something. Correct, Mr. Skinner. Correct. So, what we also know is that she gets a check at the end of every month. There are two theories. One is that it's Social Security. And the other is that it's like an annuity from her ex-wife, former wife, who passed away. I'm not sure which one it is. But let's run down the rabbit hole of its Social Security, just for the exercise. We know that is at a minimum $900. She got it on the 31st, I think she said she was getting her check. So when they got to Houston and had to get a room, her check was able to pay for the first 2 weeks. 280. It's 281 a week. I don't even know if that's true. But let's say again for the exercise that it is. Did she pay for her 2 weeks, or was she given 2 weeks? Because I heard both. But for the exercise, let's assume she paid for 2 weeks. So that would have been a little over $500. If she had Social Security and it was $900, that should have left $400 more. Or a little less than $400. Which means that she shouldn't need any more money. And for the first few days they were in Houston, they didn't ask for jack diddly squat, which means there was still money left over. But as soon as that few days was over, guess what? We were back to asking money for food. This was Wednesday. And what she said was that they had $36. So why are you asking for money? She actually had a nerve to say, it doesn't matter if I get a job or win the lottery, people are still going to talk about me. Not over here, we won't. She said her check is 300. This is my other question. How come Claudia always has money for everything except for the days you beg? Claudia got her haircut. How many times did Medina say Claudia has her half, but I don't have mine? For everything. Travel, hotels. But when it comes to food, neither one of them ever have any money. Could somebody explain that to me? So they have this place until the 14th, but baby has to eat, and Medina has to make sure baby eats. Why? I thought baby was going home to mama. If baby had money to get your hair cut, shouldn't you have saved that for food? And when are you going to buy a new t-shirt? And then she claims we don't want to have to ask for the money to extend. But she got somebody right in the comments. Why? You can ask. If you want her to ask, then you send her the money. Then you send her the money. Why is it anybody else's job? Two grown, able-bodied adults. And yet other people who go to work every day. I had a conversation with Mr. and Mr. was like, I'll be damned if you're going to, I go to work every day and you're going to take my income and give it to another grown person. Picture that. How long do you think this is going to go? Because just like people got sick of you in Corpus, they're going to get sick of you in Houston as well. Right, Tay? Yeah, her work uniform for TikTok. Because as long as she shows she's wearing the same t-shirt, then she's not possibly spending money, right? And I'm sorry. If you had to, back in the day, you wash that shirt in the bathroom and hang it up so it can dry. Sorry, that's Kira. Oh, White Sox is asleep. He went all the way over there to go to sleep. We're going to leave him there too. I'm over it. Somebody said they're sick of seeing her face. So am I. Maggie's laundry person. Ugh, the thought of that. Right, listen, I was born in the 70s, but even I know that. Well, we know why J. Paul is live. I mean, it's not a surprise. Okay, I still have some time. So even though he wasn't on the list, I'm going to add him. So He needed the money for the inhalers and the other medication that some people thought might be a steroid because he said he didn't think it was an antibiotic, right? The best of the worst. He came back on after saying he had gone to the doctor. And of course, he doesn't feel good and he's on the edge of tears that it's going to be pneumonia. Good morning.
Good morning. Was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday he got some money. Then he said he was going to be coming back, and he never come back on.
Of course not.
And then was it yesterday or the day before? Okay, I looked up. I didn't think there was any such thing as partial pneumonia, and it's called walking pneumonia. That's what they call it.
Right.
But he was on. It was 9:21 my time, so it'd been 8:21 his time, and I don't know how long he was on. But he had just got back from the doctors where they told there's no way he because the doctor's open at 8 and he was on live at 8:21.
And didn't he say the doctor was an hour away?
I think, but a doctor, if you're sick with cancer and all this crap, like he says, if you have pneumonia, they're going to do X-rays. They're probably going to keep you is what they would do. So he can do all the crying and everything, but it was just I feel like to get a fix. That's all he wanted.
Of course. Of course. Because how are you already claiming pneumonia if they haven't diagnosed you with pneumonia? Now, I could see them saying if this doesn't get better, it could turn into pneumonia. But he's coming to the live. It's going to be pneumonia. I'm gonna have pneumonia, and if I don't get better by Monday, they're gonna hospitalize me, sir. In your circumstances, being in the hospital is better than being in a tent. No, you'll have 3 meals a day. You'll have people taking care of you. You can take a hot shower. Like why are you crying?
It makes and for the people over there that send him money, all I can think of is they have to be addicts as well to keep sending him money.
Well, I have some theories about that I'm going to reveal on Digital After Dark. I have some real serious, because that's one of my questions. Like, why? Why can you hear the same thing I could hear and yet you still keep giving your money? Which, by the way, it's not a whole bunch of new people giving him money. It's the same people using different accounts. That's it.
Yeah, his mods. Yep. Oh no! And when he fell, when I can't remember if he was going uphill or downhill, I tried. I said, "I'm going to hell" because I was laughing. I shouldn't have laughed, but his karma is coming for. He's getting what he deserves. Is the way I look at it.
Correct. Oh,
But
please send them to me having a senior moment.
I just wanted to. Yeah, I just wanted to let you know. Yeah, because at 8:21 he was on. For just, I could not. Mr. Sass was looking at me like I lost my mind. I never laughed so hard in my life. I don't think it was bad.
Because he acts like he's like in one breath he's tough. So let me bring this up. If you were with him the other night, he was nasty enough to tell us that he got some, that he's a man and he needs it. And he's like, of course I feel great. I've been able to spend quality time with my lady and we did this and that. And literally the next morning he couldn't breathe.
I think he might have a cold, but that's it. But I've never seen a man cry and moan as much as him. It's pathetic. But people fall for it. But I don't know. But yeah, I wanted to drop down to tell you what I thought of.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye. And now, granted, if it's good, of course you feel better. But let's not forget that earlier in the day, he complained about how bad he felt. But people sent him money for a propane heater. Where'd he get that from? Hey, fuck it. And I know last winter he had a coat, so where is it this winter? Right, Daisy man. You're worrying about an anniversary. You might be in the hospital for the anniversary, sir. Adele's Nana, it's better to say nothing. But I don't buy a single thing he says. Right, PF. Yeah, right. Somebody. All these random people keep giving him stuff except helping him. Good morning, Christy G. I don't buy it. Like, where'd he get that long table from? Somebody gave him that too? You can see his market decline. And it's not because he's sick. Well, he is, but it is self-induced sickness. Grammy, I don't even know, but he definitely has the tent. And he's definitely out there during daylight hours. Now, is he always out there? Probably not. But he doesn't even show that he's making an effort. He has these 2 part-time jobs. Not as much as you are online. And her back, maybe. Because he's definitely in a fenced area. I know, Granny Annie. I haven't watched him the last couple of days because I feel like he's a child that needs to get some, let me not say that needs some serious guidance. Yes, he eat the Taj Mahal. It's a Taj Mahal to him. A 6-person tent. For what? Do you hear he hands an arrow for a sandwich shop? Who? Wrench? You know, like they spin those things to tell people to come in? That's what I'm assuming. Tim, that's... He would be better off doing that at a tree growing store. I would look at you and look at the sandwich shop and say, you look like you need a sandwich. Like, what? Good morning, having a senior moment. He wears a wig and glasses when he does it. Well, if it's true, somebody, now that he has revealed it, someone's going to go find him and take a photo. And if I don't see a photo on the internet somewhere, I don't believe it. Again, he wants privacy, but then he tells everybody what he does. Can someone make it make sense? He showed the wig. I would be like, so they starve their employees? Like, what? weird. Okay, I'm going to do this now because the next two, I don't want to interrupt. So this isn't an affirmation, but it's a motivation. It is safer to believe you can't do something because if you had the confidence enough to try something, you had to have the courage to fail. A lot of us are afraid of failure because we see failure as the end rather than a lesson. The first iPhone didn't work. The first cell phone didn't work. The first TV didn't work. The first plane didn't work. The first computer didn't work. When you become successful, no one cares about how many iterations it took to get here because you're here now. So to just say, well, I'm not going to be good at that, or I don't know how to do that, so I'm not going to try, or that's out of my comfort zone, or I know I'm going to fail, that shouldn't be what stops you. Because everybody fails. But if you start to see your failures as lessons, well, okay, I already did this, and this, and it didn't work. What can I try next? You will be stuck in the circle you are in. Right. We are all going to make mistakes. We're imperfect. So do the thing. And expect failure. Embrace it. All right. Last two. Carla has taken it to a new level. Right. Without failure, there will be no success. Thank you, Manders. Carla has taken it to a new level. And if you've been here any length of time, you know exactly how I feel about anybody who uses the Lord to take advantage of other people. But she's taken it to a new level. So she was in Tennessee. She pops up one day and says, the Lord has told me to move. She shows up to the airport with the money to buy the ticket, but not the money for the luggage. She gets the money. But misses the flight. So God tells her, with the money she's already gotten, to go and get a hotel room. Don't stay at the airport. This is God telling her this now. So she goes to the hotel. And she's gotten enough donations overnight to not only get the Uber back to the airport, to buy the ticket, have enough for food, and have the luggage covered, according to her. So she knows when she buys the ticket. She knows when the flight is. So she gets up And lo and behold, she forgot about her recurring bills that come out of her account. Isn't that amazing? You see, when you have enough money that it doesn't really matter, it's easy to forget about a recurring bill. But when you are paying attention to every single penny, you don't let those things go by. You know how easy it is? You put it as a reminder in your calendar so that 2 days before you get notified your recurrent payment is due. But according to her, she completely forgot about it. So when she woke up, she didn't have all the money. But then she prayed to God, and something told her to check her email. Because according to her, that's where she gets her notification for her Cash Apps. I call bullshit. Who needs their email to see if they got a Cash App? It just tells you, not only do I see it on the screen from the app, I get a text message. And what I also find interesting is that she gets all of these donations once she is off the screen. Never during, always after. Because that adds to the illusion that it's God behind the scenes making moves. Holly, is that the only place you get a notification is in your email? I get them in my email too. Right, Mr. Skinner. I checked my email. There wasn't any miraculous Cash App there either. But whatever. So she gets to the airport. She's so excited. I'm sorry, I'm confused. She goes to the airport, gets the flight, the original flight. She lands in Chicago. That's all I'm saying, Holly. You can get the notification at the app. You don't have to wait for email. She gets to Chicago, and that's where they put her outside. But God wasn't done with her yet, according to her. I think once she knew that we knew where she was, she didn't want to be there anymore. But no, that wasn't it. God wanted her to move again. So she gets the money to leave Chicago. But that's when she had missed the flight. I'm sorry, I forgot about the Chicago stop. So in Chicago, she goes to a hotel near the airport, and that's when she gets all the secret money after the live. And she wakes up in the morning ready to go to the airport. She gets to the airport. She gets on the plane. The plane flies to New York. And there are multiple airports in New York. She doesn't say which one. But there's 4 delays. Like 4 hours worth of delays according to her. And she never once came live. The entire time. But she tells us she barely ate all day. When she finally gets to her destination, this is the new city God told her to come to, she gets to the lobby. She tries to go to a part of the airport that was like off the beaten path. Although a quick AI, and I know exactly where you are. I know exactly where you are, but nice try. She sits down and she starts again. She wants to talk about the fact that people talk about her because they don't understand her journey, that she evangelizes. You do realize that Satan will bless you too. But I want to show you something. And for those of you who are not religious, I understand. I am coming at her this way because she claims that it is God. These are two scriptures from the book of 1 Corinthians. The first one is 14:33 that says, "For God is God is not a God of disorder, but of peace." And the second one is 14:40. "But let all things be done decently and in order." She tries to claim that God has her in this chaos for a reason. God is not a God of chaos. At least not the God I serve. The God I serve says that you put all your ducks in a row before you make a decision. And he certainly wouldn't need you to beg on TikTok if that's where he wants you to go. But when she comes on, she doesn't consider it begging. She considers herself giving her testimony. She said that most days God doesn't inspire her to come online and share her story. But it's amazing how God always puts it on her heart when she needs money. God is good. That he only puts it on your heart when you need something. Ain't that amazing how that works? God never tells her to go live after she's been on the street for a day or two. But miraculously, on the day when she's getting ready to get put out, God has her come to TikTok. She's in her 30s and playing this game. Why? Because one of the fastest ways to get money from anybody is to lay it at the feet of God. Let me put her picture back up, because when people say I couldn't make money any other way, you think I couldn't do this? Get on here and talk about God and all the knowledge I have and say I'm going to share this knowledge, but I need you to fund me because I spent all my time in the service to the Lord and you can be my blessing. Do you think I couldn't do that? And I know more about the Bible than she does. You think I don't have 50,000 testimonies to give? I could talk about getting over being a mother at a young age. I could talk about being molested at a young age. I could talk about my first divorce and how my husband treated me. I can talk about being a 25-year-old widow with a 6-year-old. I can talk about marrying a man that acted like a Christian and he acted worse than the two husbands who didn't claim a Christian identity. I could talk about moving and what a blessing it was. I could talk about not only losing my mother, but a year and a half later, losing my father. I could talk about the testimony of how I met Mr. Didi. And I could stretch all of that out for 3 or 4 years. Okay, having a senior moment. You think I couldn't make money on TikTok doing that? And all I got to do is say, God led me to it. You know, I have all this testimony about all these things God has gotten me through, and I'm going to share it. Thank you, Dana. When people say, I'm mad because I'm not getting blessed. Oh, I could do it. And I could even be genuine about it. But I certainly wouldn't do it and say, well, God put it on my heart to fly all over the country. And last night she was like, people think it's easy. I'm not on vacation. Well, you might as well be. Why would God send you to Chicago to 48 hours later send you to another place and you don't have no money to do it? And the other thing is, God doesn't need to do that to you as a testimony. What about all of the people who have been to seminary? People who have been studying the word all their life? Why does he need you to evangelize? She'll be like, he sends me to a city and he'll tell me to go for a walk and maybe I need to pray over somebody. So suddenly the city of Chicago needs you there to evangelize? When half the time you're questioning the Bible, you're questioning God, why would he need you? But how are you evangelizing when half the time you're talking about how sick you are? And how you need rest? When are you evangelizing when you've slept for 2 days? So she gets to the airport and she tells us that it was a 13-hour day. I almost called her out her name. People work for 13 hours. The people on the plane with you worked for 13 hours. You sat in a chair for 13 hours. But okay, let's have empathy for you. And not the pilots and the stewardesses who had to actually work that 13 hours. But okay. And she made sure to say that the airport was closing soon and she was getting nervous and that people were looking at her weird. She also needed us to know that while she was on the flight there, she asked the people around her and they told her that very few people look like her, that it's a palm-colored city. Did you go? Because she made sure to say that Chicago was a dangerous place. How come every time she wants to move somewhere or do something, the people there are weird or it's dangerous and she's not safe? She utilizes the fact that she's a single woman by herself, led by God, to also get people to give her money because we wouldn't want something to happen to her. But with God, why is she worried? Right, little bit. Do you know how many women and or men would love to have children and they get on this app and they see a 20-something stupid girl just popping out babies like it's nothing for other people to pay for? Do you know how many people have a testimony and you're using it to get all over the country where you want to be? I'm telling you, she only left Chicago because we knew she was there. Oh, I'm so sorry, Dana. I'm not going to say where because she hasn't said where. But I know, because she thought she was hiding something. And then she sat right in front of the thing that identified where she was. This is the other thing. If you were trying to reach the most people, why aren't you using your TikTok to evangelize? Because that could reach millions of people around the world. You just come to TikTok to beg for money. And I promise you, on her other Twitch account, she doesn't talk about God at all. She talks about health and eating healthy and vitamins and teas, etc. There ain't no evangelizing on Twitch because she wants to change her platform. That's why you lost all the followers you had. I mean, they still follow her, but she'll get between 7 to 10 people in her live. Instead of going to that hotel, a smart person would have saved that money. But no, God wants her to be rested and comfortable. So she spent the money at a hotel instead of staying in the airport. Because she knew God was going to bless her with more money. So when she got to the airport, she had $50. Now, let me be very clear about something. I am in no way, shape, or form saying that God couldn't use her or somebody like her to send his message. Sometimes you need the message from somebody who looks like you to even accept it. My problem is that she uses God just to get money. She only talks about her testimony when she needs something. So when she got to the airport last night, she had $50. But this is what she said. I haven't even looked up a hotel or how much an Uber would cost. What? So you mean to tell me you went somewhere again that you don't know nothing about, and you in the 4 hours of delays didn't think, let me at least look for a hotel? And see on average how much it's going to be? Because had she done that, the $60 she had might have paid for it. But of course not, because she's led by God. So she'll wait till she gets there, and then she'll do it while she's live. You haven't looked it up, but you know you're going to need more money? Listen, even if I had gotten on the plane, I knew where I was going, but I hadn't looked it up. If I had 4 hours of delay, wouldn't that be the thing I did? Like, you're just sitting there. What did you do? You talked to your neighbors and found out that people who look like you aren't there. And let me be clear, while Chicago is a violent city, there are parts of Chicago that are not. Let's put it that way. It's dangerous in the hood. So she went to the bathroom, and when she came back, suddenly she had all the money she needed. Why? because she was in a hotel. God found somebody to bless her. And she was even surprised that God put it on her heart to even come live last night. That even though she was so tired, she felt alive. She felt this newness and being in this new place. And with God, all of this makes sense. She had only heard of this place 2 or 3 weeks ago. But of course, when she heard it 2 or 3 weeks ago, that was God telling her where she was going to be. Oh, and she didn't want to pay attention to the government shutdown because she didn't want to be nervous. So she doesn't really pay attention to the news. Now, if anybody knows the Bible, there's Jesus's return. And in that, he told the apostles what to look for. Well, how are you going to be informed of the things to look for if you don't watch the news or read an app that tells you about the news or open a newspaper? Again, doesn't make sense. Oh, I guess God is just going to tell her personally. But again, she wanted us to know that she was going to be the last person in the airport. In fact, she was watching them clean up and she got nervous. Why are you nervous? God takes care of everything else. She felt led to testify. She wanted 2 or 3 nights, but she only got one, so she feels blessed. But she wants you to know she needed 2 or 3 nights because she needs to rest. Correct, Grammy. She said she needed to rest because she didn't sleep on the airplane, even though earlier, in the earlier live, while she was still in the airport, she said she slept twice. And again, you know how you're giving yourself away? Because if the airport was actually closing, that means you're in a small city. Because big airports don't close. But portions of the airport might close. She also told us she was on a Delta flight and it was delayed in New York. But we're not supposed to know where she is. Right, the airport was closing but for her because she wanted people to feel the urgency in giving her money. That's all. She was so happy that God put it on her heart to come live last night. And she said God will put it on her heart when it's time for her to ask for more. A very, very, very small airport can shut down everything. But she wasn't at a very, very, very small airport. They'll shut down the counters, but the airport doesn't close. All I can say is, isn't God amazing? For one individual. For one individual. I'm getting tired of her using God. And as long as she does, I'm going to keep telling y'all about her until people get tired of it. because I find I'm offended by it. Yes, Risa, they are. But like, I've been on a red eye, and when you get there, is or a late night flight, the counters aren't open because there aren't any flights going out. So you'll go in and the airport is pretty much empty. She's like 32, 33 years old. She's not in her 20s. She's in her 30s. But she acts like she's 12 and doesn't know how the real world works. But also, by continuing to move, she never actually has to get a job. She just got there. Sandy, I do too. Right, a very, very small, like a little local airport may close because they don't have the traffic nor the need. Anyway, I'm going to end my regular scheduled programming there because about 2 or 3 hours prior to me doing the setup for the live, I came across Brandon who? Right, Lori, some clothes. So I came across a scammer also using God. But this isn't a traditional, I get on here and beg for money. This is far deeper. And I'm going to be honest, I never heard about her before today. And I haven't even had a full 24 hours to investigate. But I've done enough to know what I'm looking at. And so this isn't even just my deep dive. I think this is a community-wide. Oh, they're battling? Who's Brandon, though? I don't know who Brandon is. This is a community-wide investigation necessary. And I say that because on the surface, this sounds amazing. And I think it was probably initially done for all the right reasons. Oh, okay. I wasn't a part of the Mama Tot lore, so I honestly don't know. So I'm coming to you acknowledging that I've had less than 24 hours to investigate. But the investigation I have done thus far is scary. Does anybody know her? Yeah, neither did I. Oh, neither did I. Until I found out what she was up to. So let me show you a couple of things. This is her TikTok. Her name is Brooklyn Katie Parton. You see what she says there? Loves Jesus but likes to say fuck. Oh, I've done Sheena many, many, many times. Many, many times. She knows how I feel about her. She started a group called Bless a Mom. Now, The original premise was that she would accept donations, and every single week she would bless a mom. Sounds fantastic. Each individual would make donations and you would have your name listed. And then she would use a random number generator, and whoever ended it got it. I'm going to read a letter of somebody who was initially a part of the group. Or I'm going to summarize it. I'm not going to read it. I'm going to show you where you can go hear the entire letter. But people were getting like $30,000, like life-changing. Some people even got $90,000 from moms and I'm sure some dads all around the country sending in $2. That's all you had to do was $2. And she was giving thousands of dollars away, like literally life-changing. And this group was primarily on Facebook. This is her personal Facebook page. You see how it says the same thing, loves Jesus, but likes to say fuck? This is the Facebook group where most of this took place on. It's 363.5 thousand members. So when I first came across it, I saw people saying it's an illegal lottery. The very first video I saw about her was that this woman had gone to see a lawyer in Georgia, and that this was considered an illegal lottery. And I'll explain how we get there in a minute. But I think Sherry said it was like Carrie Walls. It is exactly like Carrie Walls. It becomes a lottery when you have to pay something in order to win something. And the only people allowed to do that is the government, or if you get a government exception because you're a nonprofit. But when you do it yourself, it's illegal. So I'm going to jump around a little bit because I want y'all to understand that I did some research, but more is necessary. Let me see something real quick. Nope. I want to make sure that there's nothing more. Okay. I also want you to see that she has a website on Apple and Google Play stores and a website, because that's part of what's wrong. So let me go to the letter. And wait, let me just show you this real quick. Take a screenshot of this. These are some of the accounts that I found that have multiple videos talking about this. So you can go research it yourself. You know, I'm always about you guys being able to find out for yourself so you don't have to take my word for it. Oh, I didn't know. Like I said, just a couple hours before I went live. But this woman here, Ivory Rose Knows, she also has a YouTube channel. And it is from this video where it says Brooklyn Katie and her Blessed Mom scam a follower story that I'm getting this story from, but I'm paraphrasing. So this woman was introduced to her daughter to join the group. And initially, it was a wonderful place for moms and grandmoms to get together, to talk, a place of encouragement. And even though Katie made it clear that she was a Christian, she didn't push religion. But it made them feel like they weren't alone. And a lot of them used to attend church, but in order to have jobs, they stopped going to church. So her talks about God and the blessings and etc. made them feel even more connected. In fact, they even looked forward to being there. Now, initially, when you started the group, you donated and people got it. One of the things you were able to do was she posted a Google Doc that anybody who was a part of it was able to go and see their name on the list. It gave them more hope. She had certain things you had to do to get on the list. So by being able to see your name on the list, let you know that you did everything correctly. And it let you know that there was a chance that you could be chosen. And then there started to be changes. Suddenly, the list was hidden. You weren't allowed to know if you were on the list. And they dealt with that. Okay, maybe other people don't want other people to know they're on the list. Then they had to watch her lives in order to get the code word to get on the list. And those lives went from 30-minute friendly chats to 3 hours of Brooklyn complaining, telling them that they were bad people who only participated to get money. That she called it them having a bad heart posture, and that God wouldn't bless them unless they donated every time she went live. And then she told them that they needed to donate without putting their name on the list, to prove that they were in the group for the right reasons. Excuse me? I thought this was, I donate to hope that it eventually comes to me. But the fact that I have to donate to even end up on the list is what makes it an illegal gamble. I mean, an illegal lottery, which is also considered gambling. If I have to spend money to end up on the list, that consideration in order to make it to the list is what makes it illegal. And then, to add to that, they added in Dad's group. So it's help bless a mom, bless a dad. And she would go in there and complain and make fun of the women, saying things like they're all money hungry and they weren't right for the group. How are you going to the men's side to talk about the women when this is what you started, how you started it? And they saw the numbers increase rapidly. And yet they saw the rewards decline just as quickly. So as I said, one person won $30,000 a week. People even made it to the point where it was $90,000 a week given to one mom. And then suddenly it was barely $1,000 a week. Where did all of that money go? Now, allegedly, some of the people who got the money were people she knew personally. And then she announced that she was creating an app. And when people started to question what is the need for the app, they got blocked. And then suddenly, the app requires a $2.99 a month subscription. So you know how I showed you this? The moment you join, you have to pay $2.99. That is not the donation to the mom or the dad. That is $2.99 going to her. She never explained why they were really charging a fee, especially to the women on the list. Now, you're talking to women who are already vulnerable. They're already in a state where they're struggling. And now to make it on the list, you got to subscribe to this $2.99 a month subscription and give $2 a week? If anybody called her out about the $2.99 app, they were blocked. And the more changes happened, the less it felt like fellowship. Rather, it became like a bunch of suspicious strangers trapped together, waiting to be ratted out. Well, this woman eventually found a snark page on Reddit, and suddenly she felt camaraderie. And she realized she wasn't wrong for having these questions. When she did the math, she realized that based on the $2.99 a month subscriptions at 30,000 subscribers, this woman was making more money in a month than it took her to make in 12 months. In 12 months, Brooklyn was getting in 1 month. Now, you could say, well, she's running it, so she should make money. Okay. But $2.99 as a requirement to get on the list, and you're a vulnerable person already, and that's the baseline. That is to be in her presence. And then you have to pay $2 a week to make it on the list. And you have to be present for her lives to get the code word. And you never know when in the live she's going to give the code word, so that's another $3. And now you can either give $2 or $4 in the donation, because 2 goes to the woman's side and 2 goes to the men's side. And if you only give $2, 1 goes to the woman's side and 1 goes to the man's side. So if you want to be a full contributor, that's $2.99 a month plus $4 a week. for a chance to get the money. So Brooklyn, who is now making videos with this being what she said, when people started questioning where is all of this money, her response was, and these are her words, I'm not an LLC, a nonprofit, I'm not a charity, and not a church, but I'm an individual taxpayer. What are you going to do with it? Whatever the fuck I want to do with it. It's not your business. And this is why she isn't going to turn into a legit anything, because when she is, these things have to be super transparent. Do you keep the same energy with your churches? You should ask your pastor what he's doing with your money. You have the right to. That wasn't paraphrasing. Those were her words exactly. No. She might have at one time. She's living good now. So she purposely won't become a legitimate entity because she doesn't want you in her books. Does that give you the sense that maybe something might be going on? Oh, there are some beautiful trailers. I just said I don't think she's in one now. But she could be. Her and her husband, who are the admins to the group. Listen, she's been doing this a minute. She's not brand new. She's just brand new to me. It's been going on for months. But the app is new. She started that, I believe, last month. Her name is, hold on, let me show you. Brooklyn Katie Parton. This is her TikTok. I don't know. I haven't gone down the rabbit hole enough. Oh, I love a trailer. I just couldn't live in one here because I'm in Florida. And it's too dangerous. Like, it's mandatory evacuation. But they are beautiful. If I live somewhere else, them double wides, and then you put a deck on the side and you do this, that. Listen, better than a house. And it's all on one floor. You don't got to worry about stairs. Let me show you again. All you have to do is put in the search bar Brooklyn Katie or Bless a Mom OG or Bless a Mom, and this will come up. And there's video after video after video. Whether it's a personal testimony, somebody who has investigated it, something. Mind you, there are a number of other people who have created groups like Bless a Mom. There's no subscription. All of it is voluntary. They're transparent. Josh, now with AI, starting an app as basic as hers is not that much money. And let's not forget that she wraps all of this around God. She said at the beginning that this group was placed on her heart by God, and she wasn't doing it for any financial gain, that the group would remain God-centered. And that's when somebody said, and I loved it, they said that this is emotional gaslighting wrapped in religion. God is telling her to do all of these things to enrich yourself. Now, again, I'm not mad because this takes hours. I tell y'all all the time, in order for me to do what I do takes hours. I'm spending money on apps to make so that I can provide you with the things that I do. I spend money looking up information so that I can be as accurate as possible. It takes a lot of time. So I'm not mad that she wanted to make some money. But she could have said, okay, out of the donations, I take X for my time. But to say to people who want to get on the list, you got to pay $2.99 a month just to be on a list, and you are already broke. You're already vulnerable. You're already in a scary situation. And then you have to give $2 a week minimum. Oh, I'm sorry. Did Holly say she lost someone? I missed it. I'm sorry, Holly. My condolences. I missed the comment. I'm so sorry for your loss. And I too am praying that you get to the other side. There's no easy way to go through the loss. You just got to get to the other side. And as I always say, at some point in the future, when you think about them, it will bring a smile to your face instead of a tear to your eye. I can attest. It eventually happens. It happens at a different time for everybody, but it will. This woman right here deserves to be the discussion of everybody who calls out scammers that use social media to take advantage of other people. Thank you, Sherry. I'm disgusted by what I know with about 4 hours of research. I can't even imagine where I'm going to be by Monday morning. Well, I'm not going to be live Monday. I forgot about that. But by next Wednesday, who knows? And the fact that she has said she won't become legitimate, so she doesn't have to be transparent, is diabolical. But she is at a level financially where she probably will be investigated if she's not getting investigated already. Well, this is actually a Facebook thing. All of it happens on Facebook, but she has moved to TikTok so she can get new moms and new donators. And I think that's why she created the app, so that she can move off of social media. Oh no, it's okay. She has a social media account. She's created an app so that Facebook and TikTok don't have so much control over what happens. In order to go past this point, you have to be willing to pay $2.99. ongoing, and give $4 a week in order to be considered as a person to get on the list. I'm sorry, Vicious Virgo, but you handle it. We Virgos handle it. I promise you'll be okay. So this was a new one for me, and I know this was a new one for you. But this is a bad one. This is a bad one. And like I said, all you got to do is put her name, Brooklyn Katie, or Bless the Mom OG in the search bar, and you'll be overwhelmed by the number of videos. And then you can just go to her account and see how disgusting she is. So with that, we have 9 minutes of open mic. If anybody would like to come up and share anything. Yes, the tea is hot. Oh, Cindy, I didn't get to see it yesterday. Do you mind coming up and sharing the Brene and Tim lore? Only if you're comfortable. It is a scary place. Yes, I will not have a sub live on Sunday, and there will not be a live on Monday, but we'll be kicking it on Wednesday. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Let's
They 1,000 people or more on Black Goddesses Live last night. Absolutely crazy. But for people that don't know, Brene is a TikTok influencer that basically blogged her entire life. She was married. Her husband was cousin to the man that, well, it's so complicated. She basically was married. She cheated on her husband with her best friend's husband, and because they live in North Carolina and you can sue for alienation of affection, that's what the wife, whose name was Akira, did. She sued Brene for alienation of affection, and then Brene's husband, whose name is Devin, sued Tim, who is his cousin, for alienation of affection. So right now they are in court. I think they thought it was going to be a 2-day trial. It's not going to end probably until Tuesday because they've only gotten through so many, I think 3 or 4 witnesses. But it's been an absolute S show because throughout the entire trial, which Brene is representing herself. She has no attorney.
like a dummy.
Exactly. The
Wait, let me just add
wife.
one thing. Akira is suing Brene for $2 million. Okay, go ahead.
She'll probably get 4, but
After everything.
she's representing herself. Akira has a team of 3 lawyers. Akira's mom is a lawyer. She's not on her case, but her mom is a lawyer. And it's really funny to hear the updates when they come out for a break or lunch at the absolute absurdity of her trying to represent herself. She had Akira on the stand and used that time to torture her, asking her to recount when she had a miscarriage. for no
What?
other reason than to make her uncomfortable. So she's just an awful person who it was brought out during the trial. She was so her and Tim were so bold as to basically have relations in Tim's home, his marital home, and in her marital home, and at times with Brene's husband in the other room, knowing that they were having relations. And at one point yesterday, it came out that Devin had overheard his wife and Timmy having relations, and and because he had brought his young son over, Tim's young son, at one point Renee calls and asks the little boy, who's maybe 4 years old, 3 or 4 at that time, to bring her the wipes because she and Tim had just had relations and she needed to clean up.
What?
Yeah, Devin told this on the stand. And because Brene is an idiot and doesn't know how to cross examine or any aspects of law, she was asking questions that not only made her look stupid, but confirmed that yeah, they were having an affair. I mean, she vlogged the whole thing online, so
Right.
it's just a crazy case.
And understand something. When you say objection, you have to provide the judge with the legal reasoning for why you're objecting. And she doesn't have those skills.
It was brought out yesterday that the judge got wind that her mother who's sitting behind her, was prompting her to when to say objection. And somebody brought it to the judge's attention, and the judge basically said, if it happens again, we're gonna have problems. So yeah, that's just a synopsis. Today's is I forget who's on, but at one point though, Brene will testify on her
Correct.
own behalf.
That's going to be interesting. She's going to
Yeah,
ask herself questions and then answer them.
apparently, to dig herself a little deeper.
For a fact, she's losing this. At this point, I would have already tried to negotiate an amount. Mind you, she's trying to say she's broke, but they're in a new house and a new car.
It came out that she had, when she was married to Devin. Devin worked as like a handyman in an apartment complex or something. He paid all the bills. Well, come to find out, she had over $1 million in an account that he didn't even know anything about.
What?
Yeah. He didn't know that she had the account. This is why when Akira's lawyer was subpoenaing the
Her
financial
record.
records, Brene brought only some into court and then actually whited out the information she didn't want the other side to see.
As
In the
if that was
meantime,
gonna work.
Akira's attorney had already subpoenaed the information directly from her financial institution, so they already had all of her financials.
Dummy. Does
She's
she not
spending
know how this works?
$11,000 a month on
She should
food.
have went to a legal aid and got better advice.
Yeah.
Oh wow, Sassy. Well, thank you, Cindy, for so much.
You are welcome.
I'm a watch today. I couldn't yesterday, but I'm gonna follow up and I'm gonna watch today.
I also, Dee Dee, I sent you a DM about a very good motivational speaker that you might want to look at when you have a moment.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for coming up. I appreciate it. Cindy Girl 47. Okay.
Can you drop me, please?
Sure can. Hold on. Let me just write your whole name down so I know to go look for it. Well, everybody, we've made it to the end of another week. Next week, it's no problem. This is Virgo. Real life takes precedence. There'll be no live Sunday night. There'll be no live Monday morning. But there will be a live Wednesday and Friday. If you want to know the schedule, For the next 2 months, I will have the schedule posted so you won't have to wonder. Now it's a little different. For the sub lives on Sunday night, no, Vicious, we're doing that the weekend of Thanksgiving. The Saturday night of Thanksgiving, which I think is like the 29th, will be when we do that. And more than the enablers, I have something for you that I think you guys are really going to enjoy. It's going to take me some time to finish it, but I think you guys are going to enjoy it. So for the sub lives, if it is listed, that is when we will do a sub live. And if it's not listed, we won't have one. It is the reverse for the middle of the week. It will say no live on the days that there won't be a live. And for every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday that it's nothing there, we will have the live. I realized after the fact how confusing that would be. Oh, thank you, American Girl. Hold on. I appreciate all of you. As you guys always know, you are my motivation. You inspire me to get up every day and do it regardless of the haters. And I appreciate that you appreciate the hard work that I do. Please make sure you hug your loved ones because tomorrow isn't promised. Look at what happened with that UPS plane. Out of nowhere. And please do some form of self-care. I don't care what it is. Just be intentional about it. If you do your skincare every morning or every night, just take a few minutes of it and focus on it. Be intentional about it. Whatever it is. Oh, that's great. Amazing. Oh, sangria. That's sangria. Okay, Amazing Grace. That's phenomenal. And with that, we have a message for the scammers. Let me find the little thing. Echo. Play Scrubs. No Scrubs by TLC.
Here's No Scrubs by TLC on Amazon Music.
Everyone have a wonderful weekend.